Hello and welcome to the School Mentor Podcast. This is episode 22. Now, this is the podcast where we talk about all things coaching and mentoring within the school setting. But I'm going to go a bit rogue in this episode. And the reason I want to go a bit rogue is because, well, it's a couple of things really. First off, it's the end of term. We are all ready for a summer break. So we're all ready to start thinking about something else, right? We all just want to clear our minds of all of that school weight and just head into the summer thinking of something new. But it's also that kind of mindset has got me thinking about what I'm going to read over the summer. And I've been revisiting a book called Key Person of Influence. Now, this kind of merges my love of working in wellbeing, working in schools, with my love of business and entrepreneurship. And there's a lot of things that sort of link between the two, particularly when it comes to the mindset behind developing young people who are able to think for themselves, to manage their well-being effectively, to really kind of take the bull by the horns and live their lives intentionally and create what they want to have in their lives. And that dovetails so well with the skills that you need to be an entrepreneur. And so it's sort of this lovely meeting of these two areas of my interests. And that is why we're going to talk about entrepreneurship in school. The other reason that that this is coming to the forefront of my mind right now is that we are days away from the election. And I know from the conversations that I'm having and the posts that I'm reading on LinkedIn and in the mums groups and everywhere that I look, there is so much concern about Labour coming into power and putting that 20% tax onto school fees for independent school students. And when I think about that, and when I think how much it is making people feel like their control is being ripped away from them, and I know that I've certainly experienced this over the past few months, it feels like your control is being ripped away from you, and that there's really no kind of rhyme or reason, that you haven't really been able to explain why the value that you're offering, and you haven't been able to justify your position on this, and it's simply kind of something that's being put on you. And when we're in that kind of a position, we become really defensive and we switch into the part of our brain that is all about protecting us, that is all about safety. And it's really, really difficult to be creative and entrepreneurial when all we can think about is protecting ourselves. And all we can think about is we just need to be in survival mode. But actually, the schools that are going to come through this well are the schools that are entrepreneurial. They're the schools that are able to really connect with the parents and help them to make a choice that will be more difficult than it used to be. It will be a bigger financial challenge to commit to sending your child to an independent school now more than it has ever been in the past. But that entrepreneurial mindset, that ability to connect with your customers, with your parents, is arguably more important now than ever. So the reason I'm bringing this book is because it's reminded me how much these core skills, these 5 steps that Daniel Priestley outlines in the Key Person of Influence, are relevant, not only if you're trying to sort of set up a business, you're a new business person like I am. It's not only important for people like me, but it's also important for the schools that I'm working with. So I'm hopeful that there's a little bit of help in there for them. And the fundamental skills and tools in here are things that I am speaking to my schools about day in, day out, and that we are trying to develop among students. But if we can shift that into our staff and our management and our SLTs as well, then we're going to be in a far better place to weather the storm of whatever this election brings. So the thing I wanted to highlight most from the book Key Person of Influence is this idea of a 5-step method, and Daniel Priestley describes them as the 5 P's is pitch, publish, product, profile, and partnerships. And it's how you go about perfecting each of those things to position yourself as a key person of influence in your sector. Now, that might be you thinking about this as yourself as a teacher. Perhaps the changes that are going on mean that your role is at risk. And so this might be something that you want to apply to yourself to help you navigate and find the next role that is right for you. Perhaps this is something that you're coming to as a member of SLT, and you need to think about the way that your school is being positioned and working with your marketing department to see how you position the school and you approach and support your current parents, but also your prospective parents as well. So let's break them down. When we think about pitch, what Daniel talks about in KPI is being able to explain a really compelling pitch from the word go as to what you do and the impact that you have. And I was thinking about this, and I was reflecting on one of my partner schools, Camford School. And I was thinking that when you walk around that school, you meet lots of different people, and you will speak to all kinds of characters within that school. But there's a really strong pitch that comes through. And that pitch that comes through is one that Camford is the place to be. Camford is known for just being a place that creates success. It's not about arrogance, it's not about it being perfect, but it's a place to be successful. And when you're thinking about that for your school, what is the pitch that's actually being put out there at the moment? Is it one that solely focuses on the generic stuff that all schools do, or is it one that is tailored to your school? So think about that pitch. Think about how you are coming across, and whether or not it's a pitch that's being echoed throughout the school as well. The next one is publish. So the next one, when we think about what's going out in the media about your school, yeah, I'm certain there's a lot of opportunity to go out there and win awards and kind of talk about what you've been doing. But what I think is really, really powerful, that I don't see schools doing very much, is giving away brilliant stuff for free. And thinking creatively about how you give away that brilliant stuff. Now, I've seen over the past, particularly in the past year, a lot of kind of open letters in the Times. I've seen a lot of kind of hear all the concerns about what's going on in politics coming from schools. I've seen lots of content out there that is schools sharing their concerns, the damage that might be done. I see very little of schools saying, here's all the cool stuff that we've done, and help me train you, help me offer you the success that we've found in this great project. Again, I'm thinking about Camford School as an example. They did an amazing project around sleep and improving the sleep of their boarders. And they then gave that away to the Wellbeing Hub, and the Wellbeing Hub is sharing that with others. It's a great way of sharing their best practice with others, and when that happens, they become known as a school that is generous and a school that is really valuable. They did exactly the same thing with their mentoring program. Again, they won an award for the mentoring program that I work with them on. They gave that program away. And I went in and supported them by delivering training for their supported school, the Bourne Academy. I went in and delivered that training for free. We are creating and navigating and finding a new way to give away some of the best stuff that's available, and we're doing it for free. How is your school creating value in your community, in the wider network of schools, in the wider network of just being a UK citizen or a global citizen? What are you giving away for free? And it really should be your best stuff. How can you give it away for free? The other amazing example on that one is the work that Eton are doing, creating education centres around the UK to improve education standards everywhere. All of this stuff is the stuff that sets schools apart and that really demonstrates and showcases the value of an independent school. So those parents who are now really on the cusp of whether or not they could afford it, they will be looking at schools, and this is the stuff that will set you apart. It won't be your IB scores or your A-level scores. That isn't what's going to cut it now. And that brings me on to products. And it's really interesting to take a step back from thinking about the day-to-day running of a school and think about what your product is. So if the school was a business, is your product that you are offering just good A-level results or IB results? Is it great connections? Is it access to particular universities? What is the product that you are selling? And I would argue that now more than ever, we need that product to be entrepreneurial thinking. We need young people to be leaving your school not needing to be handheld. We need them leaving school with the ability to support one another effectively, to make really strong connections and know how to put themselves forward in the business space. Whether they go on to university and they know how to look after themselves effectively. We've all seen the statistics around how many people go on to university, drop out, or really struggle with mental health problems because they've not developed the fitness when they were in school. They've not had that autonomy in school. So what is the product that you're actually bringing? Beyond those academic scores, what are you bringing? And how are you then sharing that with the parents that are coming in, with partner schools, with the wider community? How can you share that? And that leads in to profile, which is the next one. What are you doing to raise your profile? What do you want to be known for? Again, I reflect on Camford. When I think about Camford, and this is really just my perspective, and what's really interesting is it probably has nothing to do with the values that they put out on their website and things, but going in and spending a little bit of time there, I think I look at that school, I look at that community, and I think they're no nonsense. They just exude success. They're not perfect. They're not arrogant. They're not showy with what they're doing. They have incredible grounds. They have such an amazing setting, and there's a huge amount of privilege happening there. But they give back such a huge amount, and they really are humble in their success. And so that joyous and positive kind of success is what comes through from that school. And so that's what they're becoming known for, and that is what I think of. And I know that because that feeling comes through for me, that I trust them and I like them, and I have this kind of sense of what that school is like. And the last one is partnerships. Now, a lot of schools at this point, and I've had a lot of these conversations myself, are thinking about how they can minimise the impact on their parents. How can they minimise the financial impact on parents to keep them with the school when this 20% rise comes in? And it's thinking about what partnerships are vital to the school. Now, there will be some partnerships that are very long-standing, that are delivering nice values. There'll be some that are creating good value, and there'll be some that are just there because historically they've always been there. But when you're looking at how you are spending the budget that you have, even if that budget is now a little bit smaller, it's thinking about partnerships that support the profile and the product that you are offering. Are the partnerships that you hold with external bodies, are they partnerships that help set you apart as the key school of influence, if you like, as that marketplace leader? Do these partnerships help drive you forward, Or are they there because they're a cheap option? They're there because it's a historical thing? So when you're looking at those partnerships that you have in place, how are those partnerships supporting and driving your school forward? And those might be the partnerships where you are partnering with, an external body like This Is Me Mentoring, where I'm coming in and delivering a level of training for you. But it might also be the partnerships on the other side, the charitable work that you are doing. What needs to get shaken up there? How can they be the most beneficial possible for both you and those other partners? So it's something to get thinking about. And if you are short on a book to read and you want to just get out of the education sphere and think about things differently, then I really do recommend the book. It's very easy to read. It's a fun one to read, especially if you've got any interest in business at all. It's an interesting read for you. But this is a chance now, as we head into the summer, to take a pause and think about the things that are still within our control. And all of these elements, and getting our brains focused on our pitch, on what we're publishing, on our product profile and partnerships, these are all things that are within our control. So even though we have this election hanging over our heads, we can start to choose our actions around those 5 Ps and decide what future we want to make for ourselves. Do we want to be swept away and reactive and fearful of the changes that are coming? Or do we want to do everything we can to position ourselves as thought leaders and creative, entrepreneurial future makers? I certainly know what kind of school I want to be working with when it comes to 2025. I hope that's got you thinking. Have an amazing summer. I will see you in the next episode. Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the School Mentor Podcast. We hope you're leaving today's episode feeling inspired to create a stronger, more connected school community. To access more resources, be sure to visit our website at this-is-me.uk. It would mean the world to us if you subscribed, rated and reviewed our podcast, and shared it with your fellow educators. Until next time, thank you for inspiring, mentoring, and changing the lives of the young people in your community.